SIRC of ICAI in association with Society of Auditors and family of Ashok Kumbhat. Today we have gathered here to pay tribute to late CA Ashok Kumbhat, who has a remarkable legacy and also a visionary leader and past president of ICAI, whose contribution to the field of accountancy and professional excellence continued to inspire generation. As we commence this significant occasion, we invite CA Revati S. Raghunathan, chairperson of SIRC of ICAI, to escort our chief guest, Mr. Dinesh Kanabar, and also a special invitee, CA R. Bupathy, past president of ICAI, CA Priya Bansali, CA Swaminathan V, vice president of Society of Auditors, and CA Mahesh Krishnan, secretary of Society of Auditors. Before we begin, I'd like the members to rise for the CA motto song.
Thank you, members. So, coming back to the event, in honor of late Mr. CA Ashok Kumbhat's remarkable contributions and enduring legacy, I respectfully invite the dignitaries on the stage to offer their floral tributes to the late Mr. CA Ashok Kumbhat. I also request the family members of late CA Ashok Kumbhat to join to the floral tributes, please. Thank you, sir and madam. Moving on, I request our SIRC chairperson, Mr. C.A. Revati S. Raghunathan, to present the welcome address.
Good evening to everyone, especially all the superstars on the dais. Our Shri Dinesh Kanabar, who is going to give us the special address today. Our own CA, our Bupathy sir, the past president of ICAI. Priya Bansali, our past Central Council member and the daughter of Shri Ashok Kumbhat. Shri Swaminathan sir, Vice President of Society of Auditors, and CA Mahesh Krishnan, who is the Secretary of the Society of Auditors. Family members of Ashok Kumbhat sir, CA Ashok Kumbhat sir, and all my professional colleagues. A special mention to my chairman, CA, past chairman of SIRC, CA DC Jain. A very warm good evening to everyone. It's really nice to see everyone here assembled for this memorial lecture of Ashok Kumbhat sir. Actually, I have seen, I would say, C.A. Ashok Kumbhat. He used to come rather regularly to our office when my boss, C.A. R. Balakrishnan, was the vice president and then the president. I've only seen him. I never picked up the courage to even say good morning, sir. Like when, you know, all these senior chartered accountants come to meet your boss and you only hide somewhere and say, sir, someone has come to see you, and then you run away from there. So that is my interaction with him. I can say very proudly I did see him, but no interactions. And the first time when he came to our office, I asked my senior, everyone was in a tizzy. Oh my God, sir has come. And I said, who is he? You don't know him? And then I got, oh my God, what is this crime that I have committed? So it's, you know, I consider it an honor and privilege to be here today for his memorial lecture. And I think that CA Priya has actually sifted through all her connections and zeroed in on Dinesh ji for the talk today. And whatever conversations we had just 10 minutes back, I'm sure that his talk is going to be extremely thought-provoking on CAs, on entrepreneurship and business. I always say that, you know, practicing chartered accountants, we are all entrepreneurs in a small way, but many of us have not thought about growing big. We are busy actually, you know, with our day-to-day practice and day-to-day operations and day-to-day compliances. Like I think somewhere, you know, we lose touch with our dreams of growing big. And I think that, you know, all of us should stop micromanaging our practices and say, okay, compliances are always going to be there. Set up a process and it will fall in place. Think of growing big. That is how we have to do it. And sir was talking about, there was a very interesting discussion between the past chairman of SIRC, C.A.K. Ravi sir, and Shri Dinesh Kanabar, where they were discussing about the massive, huge changes which Trump's policies have brought in. And the conversation just led to Dinesh sir telling that, you know what, we should look at it as opportunities in trade, you know, trade advisory for chartered accountants. I think that kind of, you know, I think his entire talk is going to be thought-provoking, which actually, you know, kindled this thought in me. Like, you know, we read the newspapers and we do like couch potatoes. We'll say, oh, Trump is doing this, Trump is doing that. It never strikes us to actually say, okay, I can take up trade advisory for my clients. I think sir is going to actually trigger all our thought processes in that. I do not want to take too much of time because we have to keep up to time, and sir also has a flight to take. Thank you very much, sir, for honoring us with your presence, and thank you very much, CA Priya for actually bringing Sir to us for this talk, and of course a huge thank you to my Guru Shri Bupathy Sir, whose lessons I always say I've never forgotten anything what I learnt in his classes. Don't ask me about any updations after that. I may fail that test. So thank you very much, sirs, for doing this, and thank you to SOA also for being a part of this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for sharing your wonderful experience. And we are also eagerly waiting for Mr. Dinesh Kanabar to give his speech. Moving on, I request CAV Swaminathan, Vice President, the Society of Auditors, who is conducting this event with the SIRC of ICAI, to present a memento as a honor to our chief guest, Mr. Dinesh Kanabar. So I request CAV Swaminathan sir, Vice President, Society of Auditors, to address the gathering and also to introduce our speaker.
Before I start introducing the speaker, my experience with Kumbhat, when I got qualified in 1982, the first time, after that I met him very frequently in income tax corridors. I got a call from him, and when he said, I am Mr. Kumbhat calling, I was surprised why he is calling. Then he told me, you please cast your vote for my daughter Priya Bansali for the Central Council. That is the first interaction and communication with Mr. Kumbhat. Okay. As regards introduction of the speaker, Mr. R. Bupathy, it is very difficult for me to introduce a person who is very well known to our fraternity, because whatever I am going to say, everything is known to you, so you get bored. The second point is, a person who is very less known talking or introducing a very popular and branded personality it is an embarrassment for the person who introduces. The third one, I thought of introducing something, something about the speaker. I am seeing all the people are senior chartered accountants, everybody knows everything, at least a few younger chartered accountants are there. Whatever I say, it will sell. Now nothing will sell. Okay. With this, I don't want, he has given a big profile running to pages. I don't want to talk, he is the member of, he is a director in such and board and other things. I want to talk very little related to the CA Institute. Okay. During 70s and 80s, he was taking classes for direct taxes. He is a very popular speaker. The auditorium will be full when he is talking on the subject. And very interestingly, he is one of the pioneers in inventing that if you want to become a Central Council member, the easiest route and the safest route is to take classes. Subsequently, very few or most of the people started using that avenue to become a Central Council member, then subsequently becoming a president of the institute. Even today he is updated, his knowledge is very well updated, and he will be very useful to the CA Institute for the new code. And he can be a person who can differentiate between this, because he is very thorough in the old act. He can identify which act, old act how it says, what the new bill says. The CA Institute can take advantage of this. With this, I introduce Mr. R. Bupathy to the floor.
So now I request CA Mahesh Krishnan, Secretary of SOA, to present a memento to our speaker, CA R. Bupathy. Thank you, sir. Now I invite and request our past president CAR Bupathy to render his special address on this special evening.
Good evening to all. The chairperson of SIRC, CA Revathi Raghunathan, the members of the family of Sri Ashok Kumbhat and the CA Priya Bansali, daughter of Kumbhat, Mr. Swaminathan, the Vice President of Society of Auditors, and Ms. Ramesh Krishnan of the Secretary of the Society of Auditors. Let me tell you, the two speakers who spoke before me, Revathi did mention that she had only an occasion to meet Mr. Ashok Kumbhat when he visited her office during her student days. Let me begin this short speech by telling why the family members of Ashok Kumbhat family should organize a memorial lecture like this. It is very important. The first thing is, the persons who have done great service to the profession, who have contributed significantly to the growth of the who have built a foundation for the CA profession, have to be remembered, have to give in respect, and we have to pay our honors to them, and that's first reason we organize a meeting like this. The second thing is, as Swaminathan mentioned, is the newcomers or the youngsters to the profession should be informed, adequately informed, clearly informed of the services rendered by great personality like Sri Ashok Kumbhat, so that they also get motivated, they also get enthralled to do this type of activity for the continuing growth of the profession. This is very important. Like this, we have many reasons, and I should thank Priya Bansali for inviting me to preside over this important function. And Swaminathan introduced me in a different manner. I have heard my introduction in very many places, and this is one of the unique introductions I have got. Thank you, Swaminathan, for this different style of introducing me. I enjoyed it. It's good. Now, about Sri Ashok Kumbhat. Those of you who remember, I see few seniors here who were there from 72 onwards. This particular hall was half library. This hall was half library, and the other portion of the hall we used to have study circle meetings on a designated day every week. And in those days, the difficulties was, today communication is easy. We are able to communicate to people regarding a meeting by a WhatsApp message, and it goes very fast. But commuting to reach this place is becoming difficult. But in those days, commuting was easy, but communicating was difficult. That's the difference. And the institute at that time did not have sufficient funds to individually inform the members and students about interesting programs organized by the institute. It was Sri Ashok Kumbhat who had a passion for younger students and also the new entrants to the profession. He always used to handle them and lift them up, speak to them with encouraging words, and guide them in the correct path for the growth of the profession. Tremendous qualities. Revathi, you missed something in life which you have not seen. And I have seen him not in any other mode excepting in white and white. Always in white and white. And even if he wears a blazer, it's a white pant with a blue blazer. That is his hallmark. Great. And you know what he did for the study circle meetings? When communication was difficult, the institute did not have the funds to inform the members individually. Therefore, he designed a card. Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, Southern India Regional Council, organizing a meeting, and that card he used to collect the addresses and see that the things are posted to the members. And it was during his period that the concept of study circle picked up, and I think you all should have to acknowledge this in a grand round of applause. If we are having the study circle meetings today, it is partly because of CPE and partly because of speakers and partly because of interest to learn the subject. But those days CPE was not there, and communication was difficult, and still people came because of his efforts. That was his enthusiasm in spreading knowledge among the people. So that's a great thing which he has done. Now, thinking about study circle meetings, I have a very special occasion, and I want to share with the guest also who is going to deliver the memorial lecture. We formed an organization, Anand is also there, called the Chartered Accountant Study Circle. And we wanted to purchase a building, the present building which Chartered Accountant Study Circle owns, a small flat in the name of the study circle. We prepared a detailed capital budget, total cost so much, and the balance shortfall is so much. There was a shortfall about 50,000-60,000 rupees. In those days, 50,000-60,000 rupees was a big amount. Then he voluntarily came, and when we put this thing to him, he said, yes, I will contribute this amount, but I cannot contribute the full amount. I'll give you a part of that amount. He gave that part of the amount, and then he spoke to some of his friends, some of his colleagues, some of his clients, and got some other additional contribution. And ultimately there was a shortfall. We registered the document, but we went to invite him for the inauguration. And when we went to invite him for the inauguration, we said we have done it, but still there is an outstanding liability of X amount which we have to pay, so that this entire thing will be done process. He graciously said, here is the balance, take the balance and go, and we finished this job. And we remember him today, and in the study circle we have that meetings in the study circle office. Even today it's happening. Such a see, the seed which he sowed those days has now blossomed into a big organization and catering to the requirements of the profession, enlightening people and students about the knowledge in the profession. So this is what is a service rendered Sri Ashok Kumbhat. We have to remember and pay our respects, and that's the reason of a memorial lecture. Another reason why I'm right from 2009 onwards, when this particular from 2009 onwards, when this memorial lecture they started giving this, the authority to preside over this meeting was with Mr. N. Rangachari. I am glad that I am taking that position. N. Rangachari, former chairman of the Central Board of Direct Taxes, former chairman of IRDA, and above all, during our student days and my initial years of practice, he was the head examiner for the CA examination. I was an examiner for the examination, and he used to come and give very specific, very clear-cut instructions to us as to how to go about, always having in the back of his mind the betterment of the student community. Such a position which I am taking definitely gives me tremendous. And those of you who are not aware, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, during a particular term, they had something known as the Academy of Accounting. Academy of Accounting, I don't say, you attended, Ramesh attended, so he says he attended Academy of Accounting. And in some of the sessions, when Mr. Rangachari used to come here for some other work, they used to, and I used to, as a co-faculty, come and attend his session. as a co-faculty, come and attend a session with lot of precision and clarity and the clear words which he is going to express. Difficult, complex provisions of the income tax law, he will lucidly explain. And even in the previous memorial lectures, even when Mr. Parthasade came to deliver a memorial lecture, he kindled the thought process of the speaker, and he said, why don't you look into this aspect, on which the speaker spoke for a considerable length of time. Now, what I am trying to say is Mr. Rangachari's contribution. Then the two organizations, Society of Auditors and Regional Council, South India. Regional Council is close to my heart, and as Swaminathan put it, this was an open hall without any windows. And you used to get the air as well as the pollution as well as the noise from there. And Aravind Nayagi will tell that she also attended some sessions here, and it was a combined thing of tax combined with all these things which these people have learnt and prospered and blossomed into a chartered accountant. Great memories here. Now the speaker, I would like all of you to take a small pledge. When we meet in an occasion like this, a pledge is something like this. There are 3 volumes of the history of the accounting profession published by the Institute of Chartered Accountants. 3 volumes. The pledge I want each one of you to take, particularly the new entrants to the profession, the people who are going to enter the profession, is to at least read these 3 volumes of the history of the accounting profession. Today, in the floor of the parliament, if people talk for more than 10 minutes, I don't think any member is given time to talk about more than 10 minutes in any parliament session. But you see, I make things little more easy for you. Please refer to page number 191, page number 192 of the 2nd volume of the history of the accounting profession. 2nd volume of the history of the accounting profession, 190. At least read these 2 pages. There they narrated the importance of this word chartered and the autonomy of the institute. They have narrated and how they presented the ideas, how they convinced the authorities and got this word. Today we are proud of saying we are chartered accountant. We are happy that we are chartered accountants. Wherever we go, we are recognized as chartered accountants. Now, this word is not something which you got just like that. It is a hard work and determination, the capacity of these people who expressed their ideas in such clear terms and made their presence felt in the floor of the parliament and got this even before our constitution. It was discussed in the floor of the parliament. Something great. And Mr. Ashok Kumbhat, what he has done, I take pride in telling this to all of you. I want all of you to remember this. This point which I am trying to tell is the 34th annual meeting of the Council of the ICAI on 15th September 93. Mr. Ashok Kumbhat's words. I recollect those words. Autonomy of the institute is very important. We have got this autonomy. We the members know what is best for the profession. We the members know how to take our profession in the right direction. And section 30 capital A of the Chartered Accountant Rules was introduced in the year 1959, where some powers of the institute was sought to be taken over by the government, and the representation of the council and Chartered Ashok Kumbhat was the vice president at that point of time, and he mentions it there, saying that even the provisions of the section, the government gave an assurance they will not use it liberally. They will use it only in very important incidents, and they did not use it for many years. So he was a person who had the autonomy and the importance of the charter close to his heart, and he spent considerable of time. Not only time, if you go to the next building, you got the Kumbhat Hall. The amount of time and money, contribution he has made to, for all of us are using that hall, generously using that hall. So we have to say, yes, he has done a good job for us. We are using his, whatever service he has done to the profession. So we remember it. Now coming to the topic of the speaker, sir, chartered accountants as businessmen or entrepreneurs. Let me, I'm glad Revati briefed us about it, that chartered accountants should look at everything which is happening as an opportunity. I would like to share this and then end my short speech. All of you are aware that GST was introduced in our country. After the GST was introduced in our country, you will all recollect whether one day that the tolls, the lorries and the big lorries used to stand there, pass through the tolls, was abolished. The toll gates were removed overnight after the introduction of GST. A corporate entity was in the business of producing adhesives for tire retreading. For tire retreading, they are manufacturing adhesives which they use for tire retreading. Now what happened is, as soon as the toll gates were removed, the number of days these lorries have to stand in the toll gate was totally removed. Therefore, they did a statistical analysis, data analytics, and they analyzed the data. If the 3 days trucks run all over India, so many trucks are going to run all over India, and the wear and tear of the tires will be more by this many times. The demand for the adhesives will go up this many times, and if the demand goes up, we need a manufacturing capacity to manufacture this much of adhesives. Presently, we don't have such capacity. We have to increase the capacity. They introduce some extra funds, install or set up another manufacturing unit. All these things was done within 3 days of the removal of the toll gates and presented to the audit committee of that particular company. The company took an appropriate decision, and company leveraged on the opportunity created by the removal of toll gates, and that's what is the point. Sir, I'm sorry I'm encroaching into your, I just wanted to share this experience. When he said that if the new tax bill is coming, new company law has come, it's an opportunity. Look at it, an opportunity. There are bound to be difficulties. There are bound to be constraints. There are bound to be interpretational problems. Particularly people who are in profession for many years, we have to forget, we have to unlearn and learn. The more challenging for us. We have to forget all our old sections. And Swaminathan so lightly said that I have read old law and new law, I am the best person to say. He created more problems for me. So, why I am saying is, you have to remember the old and the new, and in fact I was telling Revati that we have got used to the phraseology in the various provisions in the income tax law, subject to, we are used to it only. But in the new law, instead of subject to, they say irrespective of this law. So we have to now decipher how irrespective is different from subject to. So that complexity is going to come. Let us see, because the legal brains will apply their mind and come us. So like this, these are many things which are happening. So there are so many other things. And to the family of Ashok Kumbhat, let me thank each one of you for taking this trouble to organize this memorial lecture. Those of you who have not gone, let me share with you the important information. 2009, who has come as a speaker? Mr. R. Seshashayi, a chartered accountant but turned entrepreneur, managing director of Ashok Leyland Limited. And he came to deliver the memorial lecture. 2013, you'll be surprised. Let me share with you. And you people sitting here would realize that you missed a great opportunity. Who has come in 2013? CA Harish Salve. Harish Salve, senior advocate. I have listened to him many times. I don't know how he is able to talk like that. And particularly during COVID period, an online meeting, for 1 hour and 30 minutes he spoke, and on some important decision which came at that relevant time, and he kept us all to the screen. It was great. Something, why I am sharing this is, if you get an opportunity to, if you get some news that he is speaking at some forum, sacrifice your personal comfort, go and listen to him. Go and listen to him. You know where you are and where you have to go. Revati said, think big. Think big not in terms of financial terms. Think big in terms of improving your knowledge. That also is important. The next one is Justice R.V. Iswar. In fact, I was present there in the audience when R.V. Iswar delivered it. And then our own CAT and Manoran spoke. Then Dr. Parthasadi Shom, Mr. Dinesh Kanabar would reflect. After the, Vodafone case, so many complications, and it was deferred to that Parthasadi Shom committee. And Parthasadi Shom committee gave a recommendation. So many recommendations, big, and the recommendations, arising out of the recommendations, explanations 5, 6, 7 to section 9 of the Income Tax Act was introduced, arising out of them. Now, if you want to understand explanations 5, 6 and 7 to section 9 of the 1961 Act, let me clarify, not the 2025, 1961 Act, you have to appreciate, thank Mr. Parthasadi Shom for it. And in fact, I was not a member of that committee, but when the committee met once in Bangalore, I happened to be in Bangalore at that point of time. And then I met them during the lunch break. All of them had come for lunch. I was there in the hotel for lunch. And Mr. Padam Kuncha was a member, he and Parthasadi Shom. They said, you are here in the afternoon, why don't you also participate? And I participated in that meeting for some time. It was fabulous, fabulous. And such a person delivering. And he spoke on artificial intelligence. And see, and chartered accountant or something. So that was the topic. So great thing. So as far as Mr. Dinesh Kanabar is concerned, I had occasion to meet him possibly once or twice, and more often I have seen him on TV. In this, after the budget 2025 also, he appeared for a short snippet on the budget and gave his personal views on the budget. But very positive, outlooking person. And any challenges, he takes it as an opportunity. Thank you, Priya. Thank you, family members of Ashok Kumbhat, for asking me to preside over. And thank you all for listening to me patiently. Please observe that I used the word listening, and I did not use the word, anything else, listening.
Thank you very much, sir. It was wonderful to hear from you all your experiences with our beloved CA Ashok Kumbhat sir. You'll always remember the contribution of Mr. Ashok Kumbhat to our ICAI, and he continues to inspire us and all our fraternity. So before going to next event, I request CA Mahesh Krishnan to honor our CA Bupathy sir with a memento. Thank you, sir. Now I request our Madam Chairperson, Revati Raghunathan, to present the memento to our CA Priya Bansali. Just a sapling, a small sapling. Just a token of gratitude, please. Thank you, ma'am. Now I invite CA Mahesh Krishnan, Secretary, Society of Auditors, to introduce our chief guest, Mr. CA Dinesh Kanabar.
Respected Chief Guest, Sri Dinesh Kanabar, who is going to deliver the memorial lecture today of Sri Ashok Kumbhat. Mr. R. Bupathy, past President ICAI, and the presiding person of today's meeting. The family members of Ashok Kumbhat, Priya Bansali Madam, CA Revati Raghunathan, Chairperson SIRC, Mr. V. Swaminathan, Vice President of the Society of Auditors, Senior Chartered Accountants, friends, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening to one and all. CA Revati mentioned about her very brief interactions with Sri Ashok Kumbhat sir. It was further embellished by Mr. V. Swaminathan sharing his experiences, and today I had the privilege of understanding more about him when we heard Sri Bupathy sir speak about him. Unfortunately, I didn't have much occasion to even meet him or interact with him. But then I know that he was an outstanding person, a person who stood out. You can see that when you see the board outside on the past presidents of ICAI, he always stood out. It's Mr. Ashok Kumbhat, not C. Ashok Kumbhat, but there's a story behind it for another day.
He said he does not want to be known by the name, he wants to be known by his profession.
Exactly. He wanted.
And then, so that was the reason, and the institute has respected that and not attached the word CA to his name.
So I don't know how many of you have noticed that, but in that board, it is Mr. Ashok Kumbhat for and CA, the name for everybody else. So I always felt that he was outstanding in that particular aspect, and therein lies that small story. I also spoke to Mr. T.V. Srinivasan and understood about that story, and also a letter from the institute saying that he will be addressed as Mr. Ashok Kumbhat and not CA Ashok Kumbhat. But that's the only thing I knew about him. But today I'm very privileged to be here and introduce the chief guest of 2025 Ashok Kumbhat Memorial Lecture, Sri Dinesh Kanabar. A person who has made a very impactful presence in the tax regulatory world in India. He is the founder and CEO of Dhruva Advisors, and very highly regarded and experienced team of professionals. Dhruva Advisors, they have made a lot of inroads in the regulatory space and been recognized as a Tier 1 tax firm in India, and for 5 consecutive years as India Tax Firm of the Year, and he's been the founder over there. Mr. Dinesh has also been a winner of the Asia Tax Practice Leader of the Year 2020 and is a stalwart in the industry and has over the decades been recognized by his peers as amongst the top tax advisors in India. His ability to relate business strategies of clients to tax and regulatory environment has been recognized as unique and has played a very critical role in developing solutions for clients. Prior to founding Dhruva, he has held a series of leadership positions across several large professional service organizations in India. He was the Deputy CEO of KPMG India, Chairman of KPMG's Tax Practice, Deputy CEO of RSM & Co. and Head Tax and Regulatory at PricewaterhouseCoopers. He also served at the board of Shiv Nadar University in Chennai. He is also a member of the National Executive Committee of FICCI and currently a mentor of the FICCI Committee of Taxation. He has also worked with the Government of India on a lot of policy committees and a member of the Rangachari Committee constituted by the Prime Minister of India to deal with the tax reforms in the IT and ES services sector, and also for evolving the safe harbour rules. Mr. Dinesh has been appointed as a member of the Body of Trade formed by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, and he serves on the boards of prominent organizations, Geo Platform, Adani Green, and also PVR, and is also a director of the board at WTS Global, overlooking initiatives in the Asia Pacific region with a focus on the Indian subcontinent. So ladies and gentlemen, I'll make way for Mr. Dinesh to give his memorial lecture. Big shout out to him.
Thank you.
First of all, Priya, thank you so much for inviting me. I heard from Mr. Bupathy the list of August predecessors who spoke at this podium, and grateful to you for providing me that opportunity. Mr. Bupathy, Revati, Mr. Swaminathan, Mr. Mahesh, Ravi, other people in the audience. It's a great pleasure to be here with all of you today. And when Priya called me up to say that, look, we are organizing an Ashok Kumbhat Memorial Lecture, and can we invite you to speak? And I started to reflect that what would I come and speak to people in Chennai who are so much outstandingly known for their contribution to this profession in terms of technical wizardry. In fact, even today it is recognized even within all the government circles that probably the best drafting, the best technical skills all emanate from South and from Chennai. And here I am going to go and talk to all of you. And I thought that probably the best thing I can do today is to talk to you about what I have learned through more than 42 years in the profession that I have been around, what I have seen, how I have evolved, and what is it that can make chartered accountants as good entrepreneurs. I started my own entrepreneur journey rather late. So it was just about 11 years ago that I founded Dhruva, and we have now grown to a team of about 450 people across 7 offices in India, 3 offices overseas. And there were a lot of learnings on the way which came along. And I thought that as a city which is priding itself in creation in terms of entrepreneurship, maybe I could share those experiences with you. And therefore, what I am going to talk to you is also not about really trying to lecture you on what you should do or not do, but probably share my learnings with you. I was told that Mr. Kumbhat himself was a great entrepreneur. Apart from founding the firm, which is so very, very well respected. I was sitting on a lunch with somebody today, and everybody was lauding how Mr. Kumbhat, apart from being a chartered accountant, was a founder of some of the organizations. Priya was sharing earlier on how she went to a club and how everybody sort of respected to him, related to him, and therefore it made great sense to relate these two things about entrepreneurship journey that I have had, the entrepreneurship that I have seen in Ashok Kumbhat, and I hope that these tips which I leave for you are something which are useful to you. So let me begin. Most of you, of course, would read the Economic Times, and this was an advertisement in the first page of Economic Times very, very recently. There was an advertisement placed by Ernst & Young, a full page ad talking about Entrepreneur of the Year award. And forget the award because that's not what I'm talking about. But really, here is Ernst & Young, which is one of the big 4 accounting firms in India, doing a lot of work on audit, tax and advisory. And while for its audit function, it is not operating as Ernst & Young, it is operating as SRB and company, etc., etc. But is able to advertise and talk about what it is. And that advertisement and that brand rubs off on whatever work it does. So that's one part. And then we go back and say that here is the Prime Minister of the country saying that there are global big 4, and in his aspiration, he wants the next big 4 to come from India. The same thing was echoed by the finance minister. And the question is, is our institute today having a mindset which will allow us to make the big 4? Do we, all of us sitting here, have a mindset which will allow us to develop capabilities in the big 4? Just spending a minute on Prime Minister's vision as to why or how he would want the big 4, next big 4 to emanate from India, I think that's probably not a reality of a situation. So if you go back and see the history of the big 4, the way they evolved, is that US multinationals were there, they were very large in size, and then you were auditing, say for example, a KPMG was an auditor for General Electric, and General Electric grew in USA, set up offices in Europe, and KPMG went with them and set up an office and started auditing their accounts there, came to Asia, etc., etc. And then over a period of time, went on broadening their breadth of services. But look at what's happening in India. TCS is an Indian organization, Infosys is an Indian organization, Wipro is an Indian organization, and they are operating all over the world. Are they using Indian chartered accountants to carry out that audit in India and to carry out audit of whatever they are doing elsewhere. Because if that was to happen, then you would have an opportunity of truly creating an Indian Big Four multinational firm operating all over the world. But that did not happen. And that did not happen for a variety of reasons, that here were Indian organizations going and raising monies overseas. They wanted credibility of their accounts, and they wanted their accounts to be in fact audited by the Big Four so that they could do an ADR issue, GDR issue, do listing overseas, etc. And therefore the question which comes up is, why would it not be that all of us in India could develop that capability where us signing the accounts could be accepted by global lenders as providing credibility to the large business houses? Tata's, as it is a credible name, why is it that an XYZ and company, which is an Indian chartered accountancy firm, cannot really audit their accounts in India and overseas and be respected that accounts indeed gives a true and fair view, if that's what the audit report is all about? And that's what we need to introspect, that if we truly have to be large, then what is it that we need to do? How is it that we can grow? I must hasten to add that there is nothing big about being large. It is not that what I am trying to talk about. It's the point that I am trying to make is that we are sitting today with a breadth of opportunities. You know, we spoke, Revati and I were sitting upstairs and just having a casual chat, and a question came up that how the whole world is changing. And the world is changing because one fine day, the President of USA has woken up and has started imposing tariffs. Today, a couple of hours ago, China has announced reciprocal tariffs. Is that the headline we just want to sit and read? Or is that a headline which communicates something to us, that there is an opportunity out here? And I can assure you, all the Big Four and many of the others will start practice on the trade side. Because, and let me just explain to you what that opportunity is and how big is that opportunity. So we all understand international tax, we all understand transfer pricing. Many of us are familiar with customs law. And tariff is nothing but an extension of the customs law. What we are trying to talk about is that India has been imposing tariff. We have had special audits, related party transactions. We are aware of the controversy between transfer pricing on income tax wanting something else and SAD assessments under customs wanting something diametrically opposite. We all understand the law. We as chartered accountants understand commerce better than anybody else. And if somebody is putting tariffs, and the question which comes up, and this is a live question, for example, for the entire pharmaceutical industry, they have come back to say that today we have got manufacturing base in India, we also have manufacturing plants in Europe, we have manufacturing plants in USA. Can it be that we transfer all our IPs to a company in USA, and if India was a contract manufacturer for a US company, can we escape tariff? There are no answers. I'm just putting what's the question to you. And assuming for a moment, assuming that that was a solution, then the question is that when you move IP from India to overseas, there are transfer pricing implications. When you change the supply chain, there are transfer pricing implications. If you cease to be an entrepreneur but are mere contract manufacturer, there are implications in India and globally. And who better to understand this than we all? There's nobody else better. Question is, do we want to see a headline and start wondering, oh, what's happening in the world around? Or do we want to go back and say, this is an opportunity, this is something which we can specialize in? I must say that there are a few things where we actually have been good. So for example, chartered accountants have indeed expanded their breadth of services, and that is very, very credible. So you will see chartered accountants into forensic accounting or forensic audits, for example, or an M&A, number of other things that are happening. What it does show is that our qualification as a chartered accountant indeed equips us to do far many more things beyond audit and tax. There are so many more things that one can do out here. Question is, are we alive to it? Question is, do we want that to be a domain of the Big Four? And there is nothing wrong with the Big Four. They are outstanding organizations. They do some very good work. But again, we have either an ability to go back and say, here is a Big Four, we'll clap at what they are doing, how they have grown, or we'll go back and reflect that is there an opportunity for all of us out here to render services to our client and sort of grow our practices. There are two ways to grow. as I fashionably, there are multiple ways to grow, but two principal ways to grow. One is to have a depth of service. So you go back and say, I am a tax practitioner and I am so good that people will come to me. That's one way to grow. And people have grown the practices. There are people in this audience out here, there are people elsewhere who are masters at taxes, regulations, etc. Other is to go back and say that can I provide a breadth of services, can I create an organization, can I create an institution? And there is no right or wrong about it. It's a question of what is our approach. What is it that we want to do? How is it that we want to perceive the world to be doing to us? And I think that there is that entrepreneurial mindset. So somebody mentioned that, for example, all of us go out, we qualify, and most of us aspire to have our names on the nameplate and say it's going to be a Dinesh Kanabar and company. That's entrepreneurial itself, no question about it. But a bigger entrepreneurship is that can we grow beyond ourselves? I was having a chat with Ravi just before earlier, and the question was, can we subsume our egos to go back and say that this is not about one person organization? Nothing wrong with it. That's the way you want to go. That's the way you want to go. But if you want to create an organization, are you able to team up with people? Are you able to grow? Are you able to create something that that people can aspire for? So when we created Dhruva, indeed, Dinesh Kanabar is very much there. He is known in his own right. But it is Dhruva which is more well known, because Dhruva is an aggregation of people and can do things which a Dinesh Kanabar can alone never hope or aspire to do. You are trying to create a legacy which will outstand, which will be surviving you, where if you are not around, people will be able to carry forward. And of course, people are able to carry forward as Priya is doing with Ashok's firm which he founded. But is there a way to create something which is so outstanding, you don't even need a family member, but you have created a firm which is going to outlast? The way KPMG will keep on outlasting, or a PwC will keep on outstanding, whether Mr. Price, Waterhouse, Coopers are there or not there. The question is, can we do that or can we not do that? One of the things is that an entrepreneurial mindset is an approach for creating long-term value. And let me tell you something about it. I was reading a novel recently. It is known as Almanac of Naval Ravikant. Naval Ravikant, for those of you who are into social media, will be aware that is regarded as one of a very good philosophers, thinkers based out of Silicon Valley, and a Delhi boy who migrated to USA, went into Silicon Valley, one of the earlier investors in organizations like YouTube, TikTok, etc. And he goes back and says that if you want to create value, if you want to create wealth, then you need to move out of being a single person to being a multi-person organization. And from there, beyond that, to be making yourself a product. Now, in a professional services, a product may not always be possible, but there are examples. ClearTax, for example, which helps you with IT and sort of processing your tax returns, is an example where somebody has come back and become a product. So who is ClearTax, nobody knows, wants to know about who's the person. But that's a facility which allows you to file your tax return. That's where you multiply. That's where you can actually create wealth, because you have created a sustainable value for yourself, and that value can be there lasting. You could sell the organization, you could do whatever else. That is not possible if you are a one-person organization, because you will create the value and the value will sort of die with you, or when you retire it goes with you. The question is, how do you create lasting value? Sorry. So the scale becomes very, very important, and I'll tell you why. We all would like to do audit, and we would like to do audit of larger and larger organizations. But again, all of us are aware that, for example, if we got an audit of a company like a Unilever, Hindustan Unilever, it requires about 60-70 people to carry out that audit. Do we have that bandwidth? The answer is no. Can we derive that bandwidth? Of course, the answer is of course yes. There is no reason we can't do that. Do we need to invest to make that happen? Absolutely, we need to make the investment to make that happen. Do we need to be absolutely up to date with technology if we are going to do audit of large organizations? Absolutely. Can we do it? Of course, there are so many examples that we can do it. If the same people can do the same thing sitting under a banner of a big four, why is it that they can't be doing it in our own banner? It's a question about mindset. It's a question about approach. It's a question about creating your own brand
In Dhruva, that's what we are trying to do, to go back and say that yes, maybe there is a Dinesh Kanabar and maybe there is a tax practice, but Dhruva is its own brand, where if you go to any partner in Dhruva, you can sort of rest assured that you will get a particular quality of service and a particular output that you are desiring. That's what is creating brand all about. And the question again is that, can we be a multi-practice organization? Can we work with fellow professionals? Can we, as we said, bury our ego and come back and say that I can, we can, but together we can create far more value than what we can doing as individuals. One other thing which always comes to my mind is, Mr. Bupathy spoke about Harish Salve and how he speaks very, very nicely, and of course he does, and he's by far the most outstanding lawyer today. But what is it that makes him that outstanding lawyer? His dedication to the profession, his reading. We all go back and the numbers which people keep on talking about. Harish Salve, for a typical opinion, will charge you 20 lakhs of rupees. If he is appearing in a court, he will charge you 25 lakhs of rupees. Why is he able to do that? He is good, no question. But all of us can aspire to go somewhere there in that region. We somewhere along the line go back and prize ourselves, either in terms of compliance, as Revati was mentioning, that we just stick to whatever we know about, or even if you want to go and argue a matter in tribunal, we'll say we'll charge you 15,000 rupees or whatever. Question is, can we change that mindset? Can we go back and say we are as good as any counsel? I can give you my own example. I started my tax practice with Ratan Mama and company, and for every tribunal matter we would brief a counsel. And one fine day I went up to my senior partner and I told him that, look, Mr. Mama, I am sorry, but if I am going to do tax practice in this firm, I refuse to brief counsel, because I go there 2 days before, explain everything to him earlier that morning, I take him, he's arguing exactly what I am telling him to do. I can do that myself, there is no reason I can't do it. And he said that this guy is a headstrong guy, he won't listen to whatever it is, and he allowed me to argue. And we had a good round of success until such time that others started briefing me to argue on their behalf. That's one part. And second is, why can't we demand the same value as a lawyer? We may not be able to charge what a Harish Salve does, because we may not be able to bring that value. But question is, are we able to be conscious of the value that we bring to the client, show the depth of knowledge that we are able to give to the client, and get a commensurate value, rather than being stuck to doing whatever we are doing day in, day out? Many of us, including those sitting out here in the audience, create structures, create solutions for clients which are so different, and yet when it comes to asking fees, somewhere along the line I have found that we as chartered accountants are almost shy. We feel that asking for a good fee is almost a criminal thing, it looks like business-like, it looks so bad, we are taking advantage of a situation. Why would you not say, would you go back and say that Harish Salve is an extortionist? I briefed him and he charged me 35 lakh rupees to stand before a Supreme Court. He's an extortionist, he should be held guilty under some act. No, you say he's a great lawyer, he does such a lot of good work, he's bringing such a good relief, he deserves every rupee that he's charging. And that's the right approach. But the question is, when it comes to the work that we do we look at ourselves in that light, or we go back and say, oh, fees is a dirty 4-letter word, as I say, beginning with F? That's not what it is. It's about your value which you give. It's value about what value you deliver to a client. And that's what something we sometimes mistake, and that's what we need to start doing. If we do not organize this business, and I don't need to read all of this, but I just say that this is very summarizing, that if we are not able to organize ourselves as a business, our growth will be limited. We'll lose high value clients. So what will happen is, clients will come to you when they are small, they will grow, suddenly they will become larger, they will go for an IPO, and they'll come back and say, now that I am a listed company, I can't use you as an auditor. Now that somebody else has got in as an auditor, that large firm will also go and say, but why only audit? I would like to do your tax, I would like to do your tax audit, I would like to do your GST, everything else. And the question is, we'll end up losing clients. If we do not grow with the clients, we'll not be able to continue to work with the clients, and we are only going to lose out in that process. Retaining talent, very important issue. And the question is that, are we really investing in the talent for the future? And sometimes I hear this and it pains me. People go on saying, oh, earlier, 50 years ago, the profession, people were so technically smart. These days, chartered accountants don't want to read. They are only Twitter fed. They don't really care about reading anything other than the head notes of case laws, etc. No, the younger profession is equally very smart. They maybe work in a very, very different manner, but they understand technology. They understand the need for technology. Are we training them? Are there things which are happening today which we are learning from them, which are able to use and impart for our clients? That's very, very critical. And again, succession planning becomes very, very important issue. Are we able to carry our organizations? Some of us, like Mr. Ashok Kumbhat, was fortunate that Priya is there, but does it only have to be that our firms can go forward if there is a family member, or we can create organizations and institutions? In an earlier slide, I spoke about Ferguson, for example, or about SBB Limoria and Company, or about CC Chokshi and Company. All of them merge into a big four. Is that inevitable? My own earlier firm, RSM or BMR, none of them, once they grew to a particular size, were able to sustain themselves. They folded in the umbrella of a big four. Is that inevitable? Or can we as chartered accountants come back and say that we can create large organizations which can continue beyond us? That's a question that we need to ask ourselves. Okay. For me, I'm extremely proud that I'm in the process of creating a firm, a Dhruva firm, which is going to outlast me. A Dinesh Kanabar is there today, tomorrow it will be XYZ, ABC, whoever. But the firm has been built, or is at least hopefully being built, in a manner that if I came under a proverbial bus, nothing is going to happen to the firm. People will take over. Sure, there is no Dinesh Kanabar. There will be a little bit of setback here and there, but the firm can continue. And there are examples of that. And the question is, take the legal profession, and one can see a number of firms. Take a firm like a Tri-Legal. There are no founders. The founders have all gone, but the firms are growing. Can we start looking at ourselves to go back and say, we can create organizations, we can create talent pool which can outlast us and therefore be succession for us? Again, the last point, marginalize in emerging fields. So I just spoke to you about trade. Trade is an emerging field. I can assure you that the way Trump is going about it, in the next few years, trade is going to yield a lot of fees, because if you are able to think through on how to change the supply, chain, how to make things such that you can escape tariff, people are going to pay you good fees. Question is, are you going to be in that, or is it only the prerogative of the big four that they will go? So, for example, not big four have a natural advantage, and again, I'm please not being negative on big four at all. I'm just trying to say how we can reach there rather than talk negative of anybody. So big four, somebody will go back and say, but big four have an office in India, an office in USA, there are US tariffs, and therefore maybe they can give us better answer. But we can work with lawyers in USA. We can get those same answers. The question is, do we have that initiative? Do we have that passion in us to say that we are going to not get marginalized by something that is new? Mr. Bupathy spoke about GST, but there are dime a dozen opportunities coming up every single way. And I remember a particular chartered accountant, there used to be that provision 269, where you could the government could acquire property of more than 10 lakhs. You have to file 37EE and 37I and whatever it is. And there were chartered accountants who started practicing that whole thing. Okay, and I'm not again ever wanting us to compromise on ethics. Somewhere again, just as I said, we have an aversion for fees. We seem to believe that business and ethics, large business and ethics, don't go together. Far from it. Nobody can accuse a big four of being anything other than a business and yet practicing ethically. Ethics is a way in which your mindset is. You go back and say, I will do things, I will grow, but I will grow only ethically. The two are not opposite of each other. But the question is, can you grab an opportunity like that and come back and say, I'm going to specialize in something and I'm going to make a mark in that? This chartered accountant in Bombay started practicing 37I, developed a huge practice. One fine day, 37I got abolished. By that time, he had built up a law firm of some 30-40 lawyers. Today, he has become a lawyer practicing only in real estate and doing very good for himself. So we have that ability, we have that gumption, we have the mindset. Question is, are we all focused on that? Is that our priority? Is that the way we want to go forward? So I spoke about all of this. Unless you are organized as large firms, unless you are continuously focused on it, you are going to be marginalized. You have to be branding, positioning yourself as thought leaders, focus on high margin segments, technology. And again, Revati, you spoke about it. The way technology has evolved today, a bulk of the things that we believe in compliance can be done by technology. The question is, we don't want to adapt to it because we believe that it will make us irrelevant. We want to be occupied. And the question is, can we leave those compliance matters to technology, and can we as chartered accountants rise to intellectual level, cerebral level, and do things for which we are actually trained? Let's see so we have seen several examples. There are chartered accountants, so take this as an example. And this is examples of chartered accountants who went on to become leaders in their field. So when you speak, for example, of a Deepak Parekh, he's a chartered accountant from UK, went on to do a finance company and built one of the most valuable companies in the world. I mean, HDFC's market capitalization cumulatively almost equals that of Reliance. That's what he has created, and we don't recognize it. And then there are others, all of them, I don't need to take you the names. Take Arun Puri, a chartered accountant venturing into journalism and using it. Wherever people have thought differently, they have been able to do things. I was just talking to a chartered accountant before I came here, and she's a tax professional working with an MNC, and her boss called her over to say that you've been handling taxes very well, I want you to be the CFO of the company. And she was asking me, but Dinesh, I have not been a accounts and a finance person. Do you think I am capable of taking on the role of a CFO? And the answer is absolutely yes. It's a question of mindset, it's a question of retraining yourself, it's a question of looking at things differently. We have been trained to do that. Why do we start slotting ourselves to say, just because I have been practicing tax is all that I can do and nothing else? Our trainings our institute, all kudos, gives us wonderful all-round training. The question is, are we able to have that confidence to say we can do far more than what we are doing? Take Motilal Oswal, all of these names. And look at some of the people who have done startups, amazing startups. Again, look at Naukri.com, somebody picking up a dream and saying that yes, I am a chartered accountant, but I am creating a portal for providing jobs. Or I spoke about Clear Tax earlier. Okay? Nobody knows Archit Gupta, okay? But everybody knows Clear Tax. That's where you create a product or you productize yourself. Here is somebody who went up and said, I understand tax, I understand technology, I understand there are people who need help to file their returns in a very easy and a nice manner. I am going to provide to you a platform, and that platform today is worth millions. Okay? But all of these cases, each one of them are chartered accountants really, but who thought differently, who went beyond what was the traditional practice and were able to do whatever they wanted to do. So let's just talk about this change in mindset and focus a little bit on that. I think, as I said, our training at the institute allows us to have an analytical and a problem solving mindset. You sit with a chartered accountant and say, here is a SEBI law and this is what the SEBI law says. Can we find ways now? I want to do an IPO. I can't do that because of the following reasons, or I need to accomplish. And I'm talking about things doing within the framework of law. I'm not here trying to say that we are doing something outside the scope of law. And people will come back to you with 4 structures. If you do this merger, if you do this demerger, if you do XYZ, this is the way you will be able to do that. And if I may dare say, you know, I hope I'm not offending any lawyers out here in the audience, but when I look at lawyers and I look at chartered accountants, lawyers will come and give you 7 reasons why something can't happen. A chartered accountant will come and give you 7 reasons why you can do it. So we clearly have an analytical mindset. Are we applying it to it or not? We understand risk management better than anybody else. Okay? It's inherent to us. By definition, chartered accountants are supposed to be conservative. These are the traits that allow us to grow and create businesses. Ability to build and maintain relationships, and I have seen chartered accountants do that so well. Again, I see other professions, again I go take lawyers, and lawyers are largely transactional in nature. Again, I'm not trying to disrespect any profession, but they are really transactional. We chartered accountants build relationships, and you will meet somebody, and if I could talk to Priya, she'll come back and say, so and so's is my client. My father and his or her father were knowing each other. They were the clients from that time, and I have continued with that relationship. That relationship is important, is something which you can do. Question is, are we building something out of it, or are we allowing ourselves only to do what we are doing just now? These qualities essentially allow us to expand. This is what you need to create a business. These are the essential traits of creating a business. Are we using those traits and creating a mindset of what we need to do, or are we simply allowing the status quo? What do we need to do? And again, I'm not trying to be prescriptive here, that these are the only things you can do. We need to embrace technology. We need to see what we can do with technology. There is so much of use of technology in audit today, and the fact that an IBM audit, where say PricewaterhouseCoopers are the audit, 80-90% of the audit is happening in India, because all the data is sitting here in a back office in India and is being done by Indians, shows that if you use technology, what you can do out here. The question is, are we embracing technology? Are we able to do all of that ourselves for others or not? Okay. So if a group of 100 chartered accountants working for PwC in India can do the audit of IBM virtually here, and you only need sign off from a US partner because he is qualified to do it, why can you not do that audit here? Okay. Question is, do we have that aspiration, or we are too shy of having such an aspiration? We need to position ourselves in the market, and this is very, very, very important. As Dhruva, we like to believe that. So people come and say, what is your USP in Dhruva? And we have positioned ourselves to say that we are premium service providers. We don't want to do routine tax work. We would like to come back when a client has a solution. We believe that we can think outside the box and we can provide solutions. And our fees normally will be at least 30-40% premium to a Big Four. Now that's a market can do what we do. Seriously. To say that I'm going to charge you a premium to the Big Four has enough and more talent that they can match it. The question is the positioning that we have taken to say, we are not here to do your routine compliance work. There are several people who can do it better than us. Don't come to us. You don't need to come to us. But you're doing a complex merger. You've got issues which will be covering FEMA, SEBI, everything else. Come to us. We will provide you a solution, and we'll implement the solution for you, because we can think outside the box. You want to split your business before doing an IPO and try and get personal assets out. There are tax issues, there are SEBI issues, there are stamp duty issues. We can find you a solution. We can find you a solution different or better or faster than what anybody else can. Okay, and we'll charge you for it because we are a premium firm. And I'm saying this with all humility. Whatever we do is what you guys sitting can do, or there are people in the Big Four who can do it. But we are perceived as in the market as being premium service providers. When a client walks into our office, a client knows that he will get a partner level attention, he will get everything that he wants, our approach will be solution, and our fees will be what they are. Question is, are you positioning yourself right, or are you just saying, I am a chartered accountant, there are thousands of them, and then you will get positioned that way. And it's all in the mindset. There is nothing, there is no reality. It's really a question of what is the perception that you create about yourself. Go to market synergy, and very, very interesting. Again, Mr. Bupathy sir, you mentioned that you've seen me on television. Now, as a firm, we decided that we will not be doing marketing. We took a principled decision. We will never approach a client ever asking for work, whatever. But we do soft marketing. When people see me on the television and they meet me next and they come back and say, oh, here is somebody who seems to know a thing or two, why don't we go? And the question is, all of us can do it in our own way. There are 20 different channels, there are 20 different things that they want to do. Question is, are you identifying first a niche for yourself, and then are you positioning yourself right in the market? And that's what we need to do. And collaborative for scale. Institute has been trying to create multidisciplinary firms, but that's one approach. The question is, how do we collaborate working with each other? There are things we are good at, there are things others which are good at. Are we able to work and provide a client a seamless service for which a client is grateful to you because you have added value, and that's something which you need to focus on. It's all a question of mindset. It's a question of what do we feel. If we believe that only Big Four can do something, they are the only people who can create size, they are multinational, they have grown out of nothing, and there is no reason we can't grow out. There are enough and more examples in India, and we can only grow and build on it. So I mentioned most of these to you, a value-driven approach. Can we go back and say that if this is the value that I am providing to you, client, these are the fees that I expect. There is this very famous example, and this is actually a real life example, although it's mentioned in humor. It actually happened with Henry Ford, that there was a particular generator in his factory, and which was making a lot of noise and was likely to conk out. And there was an electrician who was suffering a little bit from ADHD and cerebral palsy and whatever, and he was supposed to be the best electrician in USA, and he was called to say, can you just fix this machine? It is sort of making a lot of noise and we think it will conk out. And he came, and for 2 days he examined the machine, put some drawings, etc., etc. And after 2 days he came back to say, this is the place. If you open this place, there is a nut there, and if you tighten it, this will stop. And it stopped. And he sent a bill of $100,000. So Mr. Ford recognized that the value, otherwise the machine could have conked off, whatever would have happened. But he sent a note back to say, you have sent a bill for 100,000, we are happy to pay, but can you be a little bit more descriptive about the nature of services? So he wrote down, drawing on the machine, chalks, etc., 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 finding the source, $1. Thinking about it and giving you a solution, $99,000, total $100,000. But question is, you have delivered value to demand value. That's exactly what I mentioned about Harish Salve. He is delivering value. He is a person who, if he stands before the Supreme Court will hear your matter. You have the best chance of success. How do you sort of deliver value to the clients and derive value from the clients? I said, we should stop being sheepish about asking fees. It is not a dirty word at all. Individual expertise to scalable. I spoke to you again about the example at Dhruva, that sure, there is a lot of Dinesh Kanabar in Dhruva, but Dhruva is far, far, far bigger than beyond Dinesh Kanabar. Today we are in UAE, and I must share this as an example to you. We are 120 people team in UAE practicing VAT and corporate tax. Again, that's all that we do. We don't do anything other than taxes and regulations. And I would like to believe that we are by far the largest tax firm outside the Big Four in UAE market. Nobody knows Dinesh Kanabar. We just grew it. We grew it to say, this is what we are in India. Tax is not a branded product. That's our pitch. Audit is a branded product. When somebody signs your accounts, a Pricewaterhouse or whoever, it communicates that here is a organization which is reputed for its integrity, and they have signed your accounts. Of course, I believe that we can also do that, but at least today, audit is a branded product, and Big Four have a virtual monopoly, or Big Six have a virtual monopoly. We say tax is not about branding. Tax is about adding value, and we understand that better than anybody else. The question is, how do you do that? And again, I'm surprised at why not many of the chartered accountants who are so good technically can think of saying transfer pricing is so much nascent in UAE, Saudi Arabia. Why can't we go and practice that? The same regulations. Any person, and I'm just talking of tax as an example, any person who can decipher Indian Income Tax Act and practice it can practice tax laws anywhere in the world. Okay. Any person who can understand SEBI regulations and deal with it can understand any regulations anywhere in the world. It's a question of having that conviction, having that thing, and going back to say, I do not mind being there. I remember when about 7 years ago, I told my partners that let's start a practice in Dubai. My partners actually laughed at me, saying, Dinesh, it's a 5% VAT. VAT is not a hit to P&L account. It's something which is passed through to a customer. What will we practice there? And I told them, look, the way I see it is not a 5% VAT. Here is a country which has never seen taxes. People have forgotten what is taxes. There is no account. There is no mandatory audit except if you are borrowing monies from bank. People have never shown their accounts to a regulator. How will they ever prepare a tax return which is substantiated by accounts and numbers? And they said, no, Dinesh, you are exaggerating. I don't think it's an opportunity. We went there. VAT came as was predicted. And lo and behold, corporate tax came. And we are right out there telling companies what is it they need to do. Because until now, how they made profits didn't matter. Now suddenly you are going and saying that if the profits come in your individual hand, then it is tax free. If it comes in a company, there is a 9% tax. This is what you can do with it. And people come back and say, but the big four don't speak this language. They only come and say, this is what you need to do and comply and pay tax. You are coming and saying, if we do A, B, C, D and justify it, then our tax liability can be so much lower. It has so much impact on our listing price and whatever else. And we can do that better than anybody. Question is, do we want to do that? Do we want to go outside the shores and do whatever? I mentioned about moving up from an employee to an entrepreneur mindset, and I can go on talking about it for a long time. Going national and going international. And a sales mindset is not about pitching, but about creating that brand, creating that positioning, which makes people believe that you are the expert in the field. I've seen chartered accountants deal in forex or provide forex advice. There are 100 fields where which you can do. The question is, do we want to do it or do we not? And I said, ethics and growth are always balanced. Just because you are aggressive in your growth aspirations does not mean that you sacrifice ethics in any form and shape. That's a non-negotiable. In fact, in Dhruva, even there is no shades of grey. It's either black or white, and black is not permitted at all. There are no shades of grey. Grey is black. I spoke about this tax and technology. There are so many emerging fields, ESG, etc., where we can use technology and do a number of things. I am not a technology person, but anybody will tell you. We in our organization started talking about AI, and you spoke about how somebody else was speaking about AI, and we believe that there's such a lot of things that we can do on AI. We believe that as a firm, and we are about 300 people in India, all doing tax advisory work. And the question is, can we use AI and machine learning to assimilate everything that the firm has done, the knowledge base that we have, so that when a client walks into office and comes back and somebody comes back and says, oh, I need to do succession planning, and within the succession planning, these are the businesses, how do I merge, demerge, etc. Can I get a first cut answer through a machine in 15 minutes? And the answer is absolutely yes. Will that answer be right? The answer is absolutely no. But will that create a platform on which I can build and I can do things? The answer is yes, and we are working towards that journey. And in whatever line of practice you are doing, I think technology can be a big assister to you, and I would very much request you to embrace that. So that was all that I wanted to talk to you about. I hope this has been useful to you. I hope I have left some thoughts which you will go back, reflect, and be able to implement. And I wish all of us as chartered accountants to come out of our traditional mindset and become truly entrepreneurial the way we deserve to be. Thank you all so much for a patient hearing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your wonderful insights on entrepreneurship with your real-time examples and experiences. I hope all the members enjoyed the session. The presentation was very lively and interesting, sir. Thank you. Now I request CA Bupathy sir to present a small sapling to our chief guest, Mr. Dinesh Kanabar. Thank you, sir. Coming to the last part of the session, I invite CA Priya Banzali from the family of our beloved Mr. Ashok Kumbhat to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good evening, everybody. Chairperson of the SIRC of ICAI, Ms. Revati Raghunathan, President of the Society of Auditors, Vice President of Society of Auditors, Mr. Swaminathan, Secretary, Mr. Mahesh Krishnan, the Speaker of the Day, Mr. Dinesh Kanabar, our past President, Mr. R. Bupathy, fellow Chartered Accountants, ladies, gentlemen, and my family members, my partners, It is with profound gratitude and heartfelt appreciation that we came to close this today's function. Firstly, I extend my sincere thanks to Mr. Dinesh Kanabar for delivering this Ashok Kumbhat Memorial Lecture. It just took me a mail to request him to deliver the lecture, and he instantly accepted the invitation. And the instant was so quick, I would say, in spite of his such a busy, hectic schedule. I mean, he found the time to read my mail, and I just took a chance. I said, let me just send a mail to him and see if he accepts to speak to us. And I didn't have to persuade at all. Thank you so much, sir, for your insightful discourse. It has not only enlightened us, but also honored the memory of Ashok Kumbhat in the most commendable manner. Mr. Kumbhat always believed that the sharing of knowledge is the crux of one's professional growth. And I'm glad that Mr. Kanabar's commitment to sharing knowledge and his profound expertise has left an indelible mark on all of us. The topic, though not very technical for chartered accountants, is a very important one for one's professional growth as an entrepreneur. I express my heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Bupathy. A WhatsApp message was enough to invite him here. He's been my teacher, my colleague in the regional and the Central Council in 94-97, and I'm so grateful to him for presiding over this function. This demonstrates how close he was to Mr. Ashok Kumbhat. Mr. Bupathy's guidance and leadership have always enamored us, and seamless execution of this program just proves that. His presence has significantly elevated the stature of this event. Mr. Bupathy's support and dedication is truly invaluable. Thank you, Mr. Kanabar. Thank you, Mr. Bupathy, for your contributions. Your efforts have greatly enriched our community and have this memorial lecture a resounding success. At this point, I just cannot but recall with great fondness my another guru, Mr. R. Shivakumar, who had always been helping us to organize this lecture in the past. Sir, we really miss you wherever you are. And another person I really miss today is Mr. Ajit Kumbhat, my uncle, who was a pillar of support to Mr. Ashok Kumbhat and the rest of the family. Mr. Rangachari, a very close friend of Dad, who has been in the past a part of these lectures, is not able to travel much these days, and that's why I chose Mr. Bupathy. Thank you, Uncle, wherever you from Bangalore. Please bless us all. SIRC and Society of Auditors have always been in the forefront of these events. They've so meticulously organized today's function. Revati, thank you. Mr. Mohan and the Society of Auditors, thank you so much for always collaborating with SIRC. I will fail if I do not thank the SIRC, staff of SIRC, especially Sangeeta, for bearing with me till this evening to conduct the program very smoothly. Mr. Ramakrishnan, Mr. Ratnavel, for helping us conduct the event very smoothly. And of course, MC Vignesh, thank you, who is a CA and has helped us, and you've done a good job. Thank you so much, Vignesh. Friends, without your presence, the lecture would not have been a success. And family, thank you so much for always being there. Wishing you all the best of health. Good night. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Priya. It was a wonderful vote of thanks. I hope all the members had a wonderful evening. I request everyone to rise for the national anthem before we disperse.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 जय